Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
And ever.
What up?
What's up, babe?
Not much.
So, I'm really excited for your fact this week.
Okay.
So we're starting off right away with, did you know?
We're just getting right into it.
We're getting right into it.
Okay. Did you know?
Did you know?
Did you know divorces can be contagious?
What?
Yes. So a study published in the Social Forces Journal in 2013 found that divorce can work like a social contagion, spreading among friends and families. If someone in your social network, say your coworker, BFF, or a family friend, splits up, the statistical likelihood of ending up in divorce court yourself increases by 75%. As the researcher explained, individuals who get divorced may influence not only their friends, but also their friends' friends as the propensity to divorce spreads.
You know what's funny? The topic we're going to discuss today has to do with like social media and how it influences our lives. So I could totally see that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it works in the opposite too. Mm-hmm. Love can make you fall in love. And divorce may give you that boost. I don't think it's going to like ruin a happy relationship.
Yeah.
But I think if someone was like on the fence.
Because divorce is still taboo, right? It's not really socially acceptable. So when you have more people who can relate to you in that sense and in your circle, so close family, close friends, you're like, okay, well then it's okay for me to do it.
Exactly.
So someone gotta do it first.
Yeah. Take that leap.
Exactly.
So I can definitely see that, and it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But ain't no D word in this house, so
no. Do you think? I was trying to think like how could it impact a good relationship?
No, I think if your foundation is strong, I don't see how it could.
I feel like it might make you start looking for problems in your own relationship and start like maybe having some, what's the word? Maybe like you want some of the experiences that now being single come with. Since your friend's getting a divorce and now they live in this different life, you're like, ooh, I kind of miss that life.
But then I would, counter that with, then you never really were in love, because if that's all it takes for you to be like, maybe the grass is green over there, then did you really have a strong foundation to begin with? Or like,
not only is the grass greener over there, but maybe, you know how they say misery loves company? Like, what if they're like convincing you like, this is where it's at?
But then also that's implying that the person who gets the divorce is going to be miserable. They might be living their best life and, freeing themselves from whatever they were in.
Mm-hmm. True.
So interesting fact. That's the did you know of the week.
That's the did you know of the week. I like these. All right. So before we get into our topic, how was your week?
I'm back to work tomorrow. Full disclosure, we're recording hours before we release the episode. So today is Sunday. I am back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I've been saying, it's bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
Grateful to have employment, but it sucks that I have to like go physically into the office.
Yeah.
And
Eli's back in school, so I'm gonna have to be going
Super
in and out
mom.
the house with the baby for the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited though. I feel like I need to get out the house. I need fresh air. I need movement. I need more routine in my life. I thrive on being busy, so I feel like I need it. So I'm excited for that. Are you ready to tell everybody what happened the other day?
Ugh. I feel like I just kind of shook the nerves from that day, but take it away.
So we had to call 911.
Yeah. Let that sit in for a second.
Everyone's okay. We're okay. But we had a scare.
So I believe you were feeding the baby in the bed and you wanted to sleep a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was full, but he was still fussy. So I was going to do my thing, take him to the couch, lay him on me, put him to sleep. So I took the baby from Steph and I was walking to the living room, and it sounded like he was trying to cough, but it wasn't coming out. And I was about to sit down, but I'm looking at him like, this doesn't sound right. Mm-hmm. So I quickly ran back to the room. I'm like, something's wrong. He's like, and you saw it pretty quickly.
Yeah. So you said, I don't think he's breathing right or something like that. You mentioned his breathing. And then I asked, like, you didn't give him anything, because I breastfeed him and there was no bottle. So I'm like, you didn't give him anything else, right? Even though no, but it was just my first thought. And then we went into panic mode. So what it seemed like he was choking, because it sounded like he was trying to breathe and it was short, like very like
someone wheezing, like almost like an asthma attack.
Yes, almost like an asthma attack. And on top of that, in his neck,
that was the scariest part.
It was sinking in really deep every time he tried to breathe. Like the muscles in his neck were contracting and I saw like a hole. If you ever see like a movie where someone's having trouble breathing and then there's like a doctor that opens up their trachea in that spot where they would like cut you open so you could breathe, that part of his neck was sinking in like so deep, and we were freaking out.
Yeah. I didn't know what the hell to do. Did we quickly call the ambulance after that?
Yeah. So first we said, Eli, get dressed. And we were going to leave the house and like go to the doctor. But then I'm like, wait, like if he's really choking or losing his breath, we should probably call 911. I was hoping that over the phone, they would like tell me what to do. Right. I would also say the whole time he was breathing, like there wasn't a time that he stopped breathing. It just seemed like it was very difficult for him to breathe. And maybe he was skipping some, like he would take a breath, but then couldn't take another one right away. So we call 911 and I'm like panicking. I'm like getting dressed as I'm on the phone with 911 and I'm like still trying to get him to breathe better. He's not really crying, right? He's like making little noises,
which is not normal, because I feel like he would have been crying.
Yeah, like we couldn't even get him to cry. So it was like more panic. But then in the middle, towards the end of the 911 call, he let out a cry. So the woman on the phone was like, is that him? Oh, that's a good sign, like that he's letting out a cry. So as we waited for the ambulance, it literally was like, 5 minutes? But it felt like half an hour. He ends up falling asleep.
And I'm shook because I don't, in anything with any type of ailment, you don't want the person to fall asleep. I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, no. And I'm shaking him.
You're like, wake up. I'm like, he's fine. He's breathing. So I don't want to force him to wake up if he's breathing.
Yeah. So then the EMT came, and I don't think there was any urgency at that point.
Yeah.
It was just to get him to the hospital. And then unfortunately, they informed me only one of us could go. Or there's no point in both of us going because one of us is just going to have to sit. And they were taking her literally to the hospital down the block.
Like we could have walked faster, probably.
Yeah, but still, I think in looking back, I think it's better that we called, because then you get to go in through the emergency room and who knows, they probably would have saw that he was fine and maybe not have been as urgent. So I think it worked out, but you can tell them about your experience.
My biggest concern was in the commute, if he had stopped breathing on me, like I would have rather been with the EMTs. It was crazy. But then when I got to the hospital, what every nurse, every doctor kept asking was, is this your first kid? As if I made like a rookie mom mistake. I was like, it's not, but this never happened with my other son. He's almost 8. I never experienced that. Ever.
So what did they say it was?
So they said they ruled it a choking episode. They said that sometimes when babies nurse, like some of the milk might stay in the back of their throat and then they kind of like inhale it. And one of the doctors explained it like, when you're drinking water and sometimes it like feels like it's going down the wrong pipe, like that's the expression. Like maybe that's what was happening with him. They checked his lungs and no fluids went through his lungs or anything. But yeah, He was fine.
Scary as shit, though.
It was scary as hell. And then I kind of had anxiety that whole day. I didn't want to let him sleep without like watching him.
Yeah. Scary shit.
I'm still a little shook. Anytime he like coughs or he gets hiccups, I'm like checking. Like, is he okay?
So yeah, that was our excitement for the week.
Oh no, I hope we never have to experience that kind of excitement ever again.
I remember when we were like rushing, getting ready, Eli's just all nonchalant. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, get dressed. I don't know how to explain. I was like, we got to go to the doctor. And he's like, can I bring my iPad?
Because he didn't understand the urgency.
Yeah. Even afterwards or during, he's like, it's going to be okay. He's fine.
Aw.
So he was the calmest person in the house at the time.
Good. We needed some calm.
I will say I do think that you probably set that whole thing up because you wanted Taco Bell.
So you all know we have been avoiding eating takeout as one of our like goals this year. And that day I was like, I deserve Taco Bell. So we got Taco Bell, and then it was like an instant regret. They like messed up our order. It was like, you see, this is why we stopped ordering out.
The universe was reminding us to stay on the course.
Or maybe I need to get it again so that way I could get what I wanted, right? No? Okay. All right. You ready to go on to our first topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
The algorithm. So we've listened to Aziz Ansari, right? That's his name?
Aziz Ansari.
Aziz Ansari stand-up. This girl I follow, this woman I follow on Instagram, Dr. Kiona, they both mentioned something about the algorithm that I kind of wanted to talk about. Our algorithm is kind of influencing our day-to-day life, right? So we think the algorithm is influencing our decisions, right? But we influence the algorithm. The algorithm is set up to feed us information that it thinks we want.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's influenced by the things we buy online, by the posts we like online, by the posts we share online, right? So therefore, the algorithm is kind of created by us in a sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even as far as the pages we follow, I know part of me trying to slow down on sneakers was unfollowing a bunch of sneaker pages because I don't want to see that news because it influences me or it gives me that FOMO. So I'm like, chill.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, I noticed like our YouTube channel, right? Like when we go to it, it's your algorithm on there because you use it the most.
Yeah.
And before I used to see more sneaker things and like sneaker botting things, and I don't see it anymore as much. So it's working.
It works.
But I was going to ask, do you feel that the way we use social media is kind of showing how like bonded we are to trauma?
What do you mean?
So I feel like the things that go viral are very negative.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right?
Like the salacious news, celebrity drama. Like no one cares if a celebrity opens up a orphanage somewhere. They care about when they got caught with the cocaine. That,
Yeah, definitely. One of the examples that Dr. Kiona brought up is, let's say a woman gets killed, right? Trigger warning. It's all over the place. We got to protect women. How can this happen? Why are we letting this happen? But then if a woman says, I'm being harassed, it's like, are you? Okay. People not really paying attention until that woman is like killed.
Yeah.
Murdered.
I think we've gone over this, but how many stories have we heard of someone trying to get like an order of protection against an ex-partner of theirs, and it's not, and then something happens to them, let's say they lose their life, and then there's all these records of them attempting to get an order of protection, and then someone's like, damn, they could have helped her or them.
That reminds me, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, this guy, was it in the Bronx or maybe Uptown? He was basically harassing his ex-girlfriend who had an order of protection. And the cops came and he ended up being killed because he had a gun. He aimed the gun at a cop and the cop killed him, right? The girlfriend had an order of protection. He had a gun on him once he went to see her. And there's people still saying, you know, they're painting you in a bad light. Or, well, we'll see. We'll get to the bottom of what was really happening. So him being at her house with a gun isn't enough. Like, what did we want? Did we want him to successfully kill this girl before we agree that he was a dangerous person?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
And our relationship to social media further proves that. Like, we don't really talk so much about protecting women until they're already gone. When it comes to what gets sensationalized, right? Like, what was it that in You they talked about, like, missing white women syndrome? And the algorithm is further escalating that because we're so, what was that girl's name? Gabby Petito.
Yes.
That was like insane. It was on everybody's social media feed, right?
Even we were sitting here watching the footage from the cops' body cam when they got pulled over.
When they got pulled over, we were like all into it, right? And right now there's this Black woman who was found dead in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
She was through a dating app or something,
and
right?
She had just went on a date with this guy, and now our algorithm is trying to like bring light to it, bring attention to it. So yeah, that kind of just reminded me of that. So now my next question is, how do we think social media impacts relationships?
It's a lot. First thing that comes to mind are like couple goals. You know, people have called us that, and I'm just like, whoa, chill. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background that I don't want that title because it's a lot to live up to.
Not only that, so it's not even like, yes, it puts this pressure on couples who nobody should be your goals,
yeah.
Right? Of course, it's okay to be like, oh, this is nice the way they do that. Obviously, we have a podcast on relationships. Obviously, people are going to take bits and pieces of what we say and what we do and try to implement it in their relationship. And that can be done in a way that's healthy. It becomes negative when you're constantly comparing and wanting the same exact thing as other people, right? So, for example, Valentine's Day is coming up. Valentine's Day is similar to like Christmas now. That is basically, what do you call it? A capitalistic day.
Yeah.
It's all about spending money and showing out. We got to be careful with comparing. I always think of how celebrities, for example, all the celebrity couples you follow, they're going to get like 800,000 roses. Roses are expensive. Don't expect your partner to get you 800 million thousand roses.
Yeah. And then you got to throw them out in your 1-bedroom apartment. My favorite thing to say is act your wage. And don't go broke trying to impress the internet. Focus on your partner, because hopefully you're with someone that doesn't get caught up in that, and they know the value of maybe a well thought out gift rather than a Instagram gift.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's an Instagram gift? You know, like those flowers that are dead, those roses that are dead.
Yeah. That they come in like in a box and they're shaped like
that's
something.
An Instagram gift.
Yeah.
Who knows how much it costs you? That money can go so many other places. It's, it's dangerous. I like to say that I'm with someone who doesn't get caught up in that stuff. Yeah. I still want to make you feel special, but also not go broke doing it. Early in our relationship, I wanted to make you feel special and go broke doing it. I even got a memory, maybe 2 days ago. I bought you tickets to go see your first basketball game. And I'm sure I shouldn't have been buying basketball tickets around that time, but I think you had.
And the seats are pretty good.
They were really good. I'm even one of the pictures, me trying to flex. I took a picture and I put the caption "No zoom in."
Oh, because we were close.
We were close. I was like, ooh, like.
Shout out to growth.
Yeah, I have to eat ramen for the rest of the week. But so, I've definitely grown, and I love the place we're in as far as with money, our relationship to money, and we don't got to go broke trying to impress one another. Like, you impress me every day just by being you. I don't need a day, for
Another thing that I did want to talk about when it comes to comparing, it doesn't necessarily have to be about money. Our partners have a certain way of expressing love, and we shouldn't expect them to do something that's not natural to them. Obviously, yes, they need to understand your love language as well, right? And meet you halfway. But besides money, there's certain things that your partner may not be into, and we got to understand that and not compare, right? So I would love a date where it's like a cooking class, because that's just something I love. But I would do that with my girlfriends. I would do that with you. But it would be like my thing for me. Now, I can't gift you a cooking class for Valentine's Day, because is that gift really for you?
No.
It's for me, right? And that's different if we did it on another day. But I can't say, look, I thought of you and I got us tickets to a cooking class. That's selfish.
Yeah, that's definitely selfish. What do you think about just not exchanging gifts at all?
That works for some people, but that comes with comparing, right? Because you might follow this couple that's on their budget, on their grind. They don't gift each other anything, and they're happy that way. You might not be happy with that, and that's okay. Even I feel like we're at a place that gifting isn't really a big thing, but we still do something to make it special somehow. Like, we can't just pretend the day doesn't exist.
Yeah. But so, I mean, I'm trying to think of what we've done previously. What was last year's?
I have no fucking idea.
I
don't remember, but I'm sure we did something.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I feel like the goal for me or us as a couple is that I want just our lives to feel special. I don't want us to feel like we just got bored with one another. I don't want us to wait for a holiday to express our love to one another. And that's not like a cop out to get out of giving you gifts. But I don't feel like Valentine's Day or Christmas or your birthday needs to be the day where I declare my love for you.
And honestly, if you're smart, restaurants are less full if you're not going out on Valentine's Day. A lot of the things you can do with your partner, you'll save money if you do it not the weekend of Valentine's Day. So make your partner feel special on other days, not on the day that society together has decided is the day. Make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a little toxic here.
Okay.
What about the women who say, I'm gonna have sex tonight? And it's just like, we had sex yesterday. Why is this Valentine's Day pussy any better than?
Oh, I was like, wait, what? So you're saying it's not okay for you to gift your partner sex?
Yeah.
You know what? There's some couples that aren't having much sex though. And maybe that is special.
He's like, it's on my calendar, baby. Can't wait.
Yeah. Or they're gonna make it like, I've heard couples who say like, we only do anal on his birthday. So maybe that's their thing. Maybe they're gonna go above and beyond on Valentine's Day.
Ooh, okay.
Or maybe they'll get some lingerie, maybe some role play. I feel like sex could be a gift if you're doing something different. And it's probably a good opportunity to like talk more about sex. because it gives you a reason, right? Well, it's Valentine's Day, and some people it's not as easy to talk about sex, right? So it could be the perfect excuse to be like, I've always wanted this for the past 364 days. Thank God it's Valentine's Day, so now I could ask without it feeling weird.
So you want anal on Valentine's Day?
Hell to the no.
Okay.
I'm good.
I don't want it either, so.
Call me Peg the Stallion. Let's do it. What was my other thought? What's in your algorithm right now? If you were to open your phone, what's in your, like, what's that, the Discover page on Instagram?
I never look at that thing.
For real?
Yeah, so I will more so on TikTok it's called the For You.
Okay.
And I jokingly say, but there's some truth in it. It's like my TikTok thinks I'm a lesbian.
Yeah.
Because
we share it.
Well, you share it. We share the same TikTok because of
That's what I'm saying. We share the same TikTok.
Yeah. I thought you meant you shared the post.
No.
And all I see is just like lesbian TikToks.
So before we got on TikTok, I would never use TikTok. I would see TikToks on Instagram, like ones that were reshared, reposted. I never used TikTok alone. So then when I did start using it, for some reason, the first couple of videos that I liked were like funny lesbian comedy. And now that's like all our algorithm has.
Are you trying to tell me something?
No, but also I just realized that on TikTok, there's a For You algorithm or feed.
Yeah.
And then there's a your following feed. And I had no idea until literally a couple days ago. And we need to just follow more things we want to see.
Okay. But on Instagram, I say it's, like a little sprinkle of like streetwear, sneakers, technology, video games. A few like comedic pages. So it's a nice balance. I think it represents me. And then, I just have like my people who are in there. I follow about a little over 600 people and I maybe see 50 of them at a time. So, what about yours?
Mine is all baby stuff, pregnancy stuff, debt-free, saving money, budgeting, investing. And then I have my sprinkle of like fashion, like people changing their outfits and stuff. Like I love those videos of the good transitions of different clothing. I follow a lot of secondhand pages. So like they resell clothing, vintage clothing. So I'll have that. Pretty much it.
Would you say it's healthy?
It is. I feel like it's overall healthy. I know there was a time where I had a lot of fitness pages because I was like trying so hard to get motivated. But then I realized it was making me like hate my own body. So I minimized it and I try to follow people who, yes, I want to be inspired by them, but they aren't making me feel bad for who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
Like they're maybe posting about working out, but they're not like, and you fat bitches could never, you can't never look like me. You know what I'm saying?
So, that happened to me with something else, but like NFTs on Twitter, I follow like a bunch of, that's where I focus like on getting my botting information. And that community is slowly moving into NFTs. I had to, every post was just like, oh, you're an idiot if you haven't bought this or you haven't bought that. And I just had to unfollow a bunch of people because one, I have my views on NFTs. I think they're kind of predatory and it's just the rich getting richer. And it's, it's some Joe Schmo who barely has money, who's hoping to make that type of money. I could go on and on. But the point was, or my point is, it's not something I want to partake in. Or participate in. So I just started unfollowing a bunch of pages and now it's more the things I want to see. Yeah,
definitely. In the debt-free community, there's this big shift because one of the big names in the community was Dave Ramsey or is Dave Ramsey, right? His approach is very like, you're an idiot. This is your fault. You need to not buy anything, not leave your house. All you gotta do is pay debt. And if you buy coffee, why are you can't even buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And a lot of the debt-free community now in my algorithm, they're backing away from him and his rhetoric and that kind of privileged rhetoric pretty much, because not everyone can be as hyper-focused on paying debt. Everybody's life circumstances are different. And you don't want to beat yourself up because your life is a little bit different. So again, we're in charge of like what the algorithm is. And if you notice that you don't like what's on your page, start unfollowing. Don't like it. Don't view it. Block certain pages. And when it comes to relationships, the other part of social media is how much time we spend on it. Mm-hmm. How is that going to impact our relationships? If we're spending so much time on our phone, then what does that say about how much time we can spend together?
I semi-agree.
Okay.
I think for us, it's a little different. We're utilizing social media to grow our platform. Mm-hmm. But if we're being honest, we're not always doing that. We're looking at funny videos or just things we're interested in. Mm-hmm. I think there's something special about being able to be in the company of your partner and not necessarily engage. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you do it all the time.
Yeah.
But just sit in silence. There's something, amazing about that. Yeah. Now, it can be a little toxic if that's all you do.
Or if only one partner is doing it. Mm. So, like you said, we both kind of are in the space of social media, right? With our podcast, our YouTube. We can't just create and not be consumers, right? Because then we won't know what's in. We won't know what's trending. Part of being in this space is consuming some of it as well, right? Like we can't ignore that reality.
And then also just even as simple as comments, like the other day, someone, I think they left a comment on one of our posts, mm-hmm. and I was just like going through responding to people, and it meant a lot to them that we took the time to respond. Like, oh my God, they actually responded. Mm-hmm. We're not celebrities or anything like that, but that person will take that engagement and hold on to that. And mm-hmm. that means a lot to them. And, by doing something so small, I might have created a lifelong supporter.
And honestly, I love when people take a moment to respond to us. Like, love that shit. It just shows that beyond them just listening, they're engaging with us. And we have to therefore do the same. And that the creators we follow, that we take inspiration from, we want to engage with them as well. You mm-hmm. know what I mean? It's kind of like a give and take in a sense. Mm-hmm. But what about the people who aren't in this space? Or there's one person in the relationship who's hooked, right? Because once the algorithm is constantly giving us things we enjoy, it's going to be hard to put the phone down. And then there's another partner who just never got into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a recipe for disaster. It may not happen immediately, but long term, that resentment may build up on probably more so on the person who isn't in that, just glued to their phone. Yeah, that's tough.
Another thing, jealousy. The same way we could compare ourselves to other couples, we compare ourselves to other people, right? And if we see our partner is constantly engaging with women, let's say, that don't look like you, you might start to feel like, well, does he wish I looked like this? Or vice versa. Does my girl wish I looked like this guy, like this gym pro? Like, feeling a sense of jealousy. And another way this could become even toxic, the jealousy, is social media gives us a way to connect with people. And if you're in a controlling relationship, that seems too open. You have too many connections. It's too easy for you to venture out.
Yeah. You're probably better at this than me. more so on your personal page, but there's like you're reacting to people's stories, you're having mini conversations, and let's say, I don't know, you could give me a rough guesstimate, but like maybe 20 to 30 people you're just engaging with that you normally wouldn't have. It's not like you're picking up the phone to call these people.
Yeah.
That takes a certain amount of security on my part to trust you that these conversations are just, you know.
You trust me?
I do.
I'm kidding.
I do.
But some people might feel a little intimidated by that, by like, even in real life, if your partner had 20, 30 friends they were trying to keep up with every, like, week to week, you would feel like, oh my God, when is the time for me? Like in real life, it's hard to have that many friends, right? So now with social media, we have 50 to 60 like associates and our close friends that we're constantly engaging with. Yeah. And you got to learn how to set boundaries. It's tough.
Do you think you need boundaries if you both feel secure?
I mean boundaries, not even just for your relationship, but just for your life. Like it's hard to keep up with that many friendships.
Yeah.
You know, just to then not only, okay, then I gotta work out, you know, because social media is telling me I have to work out.
You need the snapback.
I need to maintain my house that's aesthetically pleasing. So when I'm taking pictures on Instagram, it looks nice. I need to cook healthy meals.
And make sure you plate them properly.
I got to plate, you know, like there's so much you have to do that now on top of this, I have to maintain 30 friendships. We got to learn how to set boundaries and like disconnect.
Yeah.
It's like with texting, like this pressure to respond right away. Social media, this pressure to like comment back or at least like their comments so they don't think, you know, oh, I got to make sure I remain humble. If I don't respond, I look like I think I'm the shit. When it's really like, no, I'm fucking tired. I have a newborn.
You know, it's funny. Sometimes people will react to a story or message me and I'll hesitate on responding if it's too quick. Like maybe I just saw it immediately. I'm like, damn, I look thirsty now.
It's all this in our head shit.
Or have you ever watched someone's story and it was posted 5 seconds ago just because you caught it? And now you're like, damn, that person thinks I'm on there.
I never think that.
You never think that? I've thought
thought
that. But it's just like, who gives a fuck?
I feel like the only time I've maybe done that is like if they text me or message me and I haven't responded, but now I watch their story, it's like, fuck, now I gotta go message them back.
My toxic trait is reading text messages and be like, I'm gonna respond later, and then
never responding later. You know what I hate? Voice notes. Don't send me voice notes. I'd rather read it. I read it quicker than listening to you and the fucking voice note.
Yeah, I don't like voice notes either. I think they have their place. Sometimes if I don't have my phone and I need to message you, I'll send on my watch, which rarely happens, but that's cool. No. And even then you can do voice to text.
Even like in people's stories, if you're just talking in your stories, I'm skipping that shit. If you caption it, I'm gonna read them. Just being honest. Like 5, 6 stories of you just talking to the camera.
Not it.
I'd rather hold it and read the caption, like read what you said.
Okay.
Way better.
Okay, that's cool.
I don't know. I think I just developed that habit from like maybe watching stories when I should have been working or something, you know? Or in places where you can't really have it loud.
Help me not get in trouble.
Yes, or when I'm breastfeeding River in the middle of the night, I can't have the volume up. Put captions. All right. I think we can move on. Yeah. So we have, and also y'all can relate. And this one is, I love this one. Not that I love the story, but I had mentioned a few episodes ago about not really knowing too many stories about children who are products of affairs, right? So meaning we've all heard of like, oh, my husband had a baby with some other woman during our marriage, or like we broke up, he had a kid, then we got back together. Like these kids, what happens with these kids and what's their story, right? We hear a lot about children who had divorced parents or you live with the dad, or you live with the mom, or whatever, but you rarely hear about the children of the affair. So someone sent us their story, and it's good.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I titled it The Product of an Affair. Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my dad has a son 5 years older than me, myself, and then another son that's 5 years younger than me. And those two sons have the same mother.
Mm.
So she's the middle child.
So it's exactly how you said it was. Child, break, got back together.
But it might have not been a break.
Oh, shit.
Let's see what the situation was. When my mom had me, her and my dad were in a relationship, and the relationship only ended when my mom found out about my dad's second son. Ooh.
Okay.
Do you see the connection?
Yeah.
So let's say you and I, we break up, you get into a new relationship,
Mm-hmm.
but you come back and get me pregnant again, even though you're in a new relationship.
Gotcha. So she knew about the first child, obviously.
Yes.
But he was still dipping in that.
He was still dipping.
Gotcha.
But when the mom ended the relationship because he was having another kid, they got back together. So it's like if you and I, let's get back together now.
Gotcha.
So that's how that is. If you notice, I don't really consider them my brothers because my dad has never really made the connection as we got older. So this totally reminded me of my sister. So I have an older sister from my biological dad's side. And my biological dad never, ever, ever attempted to bring us together. But he also never, ever, ever made an effort to even be a dad to us. But my older sister always made the effort. Her and her mom came to visit us. They would pick us up and we'll spend time with them. She lives in Connecticut. I was in her Sweet 16. Like, she always made an effort to include me in her life. But also, when the youngest was born, my dad and their mom got married. So they got back together.
Okay.
My mom said in hopes of...
Wait. I'm sorry.
Their mom and my dad. Did I say it wrong? My dad and their mom got married.
Okay.
My mom said in hopes of clarifying, or I don't know, maybe just hurt, she reached out to their mom when the second son was born. And their mom cursed my mom out and told her never call back.
Stay away from my man, bitch.
And my family. My mom never did. And I just recall growing up hearing that she didn't like us, my mom and I. So this is where I get upset. Because it's one thing to forgive your man and get back together because life happens, right? Shit happens. I can't judge you for what words he put in your head or for the connection y'all had and whatever led to that break and led for y'all to get back together. But for you to pretend the child doesn't exist is fucked up.
Yeah, that shit happens often. I always wonder how any woman can be with a man knowing that they don't take care of their child. Or it's like, oh, you have a child, but I've never seen them. How is that possible? And then to make it even worse, then they'll go and lay with them and make a child. But I don't want to go off on a tangent.
Yeah, like I literally do not understand. My mom, she had me young. She was 19. I had an older sister already. And she's told me stories of like, I was the one who would find her, make sure that she was getting money and make sure she got what she needed because my dad wasn't shit. And, red flag, she should have ran when she had the chance. But, everything happens for a reason. And she was super young at the time. But my mom would make the effort, not him. Yeah, that blows my mind. I would see the boys here and there, but never consistently. My cousin ran into them once and was like, hey, so you're so-and-so's son? And I almost mentioned the person's name by mistake. That's why I hesitated. And they said, so-and-so is your sister. And that the mom interjected and was like, they don't have a sister. I don't know what you're talking about. On purpose. Like, in front of the boys, purposely said they don't have a sister. So not only is she fucked up in the sense that you want to pretend she doesn't exist, now you're instilling those same values into your kids, men, and kind of showing them like, you could go and make babies and have no accountability. Yeah. That obviously hurt. And I was old enough to internalize that. I've been to family events with my father's family, and they would say, oh, I didn't know he had a daughter. Meanwhile, I was like, wait, so you would bring them around without me? So he had his sons around him.
Yeah.
Also, I should say that they grew up with my dad and their mom, while my mom struggled as a single mom. It's like I was outcast and my mom was the other woman, even though she wasn't, at least not to her knowledge. But I guess that's how that works. I don't know. Now, as a 28-year-old woman, I feel uneasy about two people I'm related to so closely, but legitimately do not know. So this hit home for me in a lot of different ways. Travis is like, oh shit, she's about to go. So I mentioned how I have an older sister, but I also have younger siblings from my biological dad's side. He had them in the Dominican Republic, so we weren't able to form a relationship with them initially. However, they did move to the United States, and when we found out, my mom, it had been years. They were already, I was in my teens. My mom had been remarried for years, more kids. And my mom was like, oh, let's link up. Let's like get together. And their mom was like, no. She really said no. Like she refused, right? Then as my siblings got older, it was on us, right? So like my older sister, she still continued. She still does now. And we're all adults. And she's still the one that makes sure she invites us to all her kids' events, anything like that. We get together. So we had ended up forming like a really tight bond with my younger sister from my biological dad's side. But I was always judged for not forgiving him, for choosing to keep my distance from him. It was always like, oh, Stephanie, get over it. That's just how he is. Like, why? Why the fuck do I have to get over it? And my argument was, you might be like, oh, it's fine, I could forgive him, but you always had him in your household. He always makes sure there was a roof over your head and food in your fridge, where my mom had to figure it out. For years, there was no question about how are you and your sister eating, or are you okay? There was years they probably had no idea what the fuck was going on with me.
Yeah.
And then their argument was, he wasn't even a good dad to us.
So
you know?
What do you expect?
What do you, he wasn't a good dad to us. He was there, but he wasn't a good dad to us. I'm like, so if anything, you should be even more on my side and hold him more accountable for being an ain't shit dad, even when he lived under your roof. Not make it as an argument for me to have to get over it.
Yeah.
No.
How accountable do you hold his wife?
Again, it's not her responsibility. I get that. But I know that for myself as a woman, I don't see it.
You don't see what?
Like the desire to lay up with someone who has fathered multiple children and just doesn't take care of them. Like it makes no sense. But I will say, it's learned behavior. That's not uncommon.
Especially in DR.
In the Dominican Republic. Women just feel like, oh, I'm the one that's going to change him. I'm better than. He abandoned them because of their mom, but not me and my kids. I'm going to be the better wife, the better partner, and he's going to stay with me. And what's crazy is I really saw firsthand like how learned that behavior is. So I had went to the Dominican Republic in like 2009, I think, for like a wedding. And I met some of her family. And guess what? Her dad had kids out of wedlock. And her grown ass and her grown ass siblings would kind of outcast those kids. And they were kids. And I'm talking about grown adults in their 40s and like kids in early childhood, like 8 and 12. Mm. So this old ass man was out here still having kids out of wedlock, and these grown ass folks kind of ostracizing them. Mm. So the cycle was still continuing. But yeah, let's move on. I'm like, I got too personal there. Do you think she has any, like now that she's 28, do you think she has any responsibility to like have a relationship with them?
I don't think there's any responsibility, because if she lived her life and decided not to, I would be okay with it. Mm-hmm. I do think she owes it to herself just to maybe know, because she'll always have like that what if. What if I do reach out to them and I start this beautiful relationship with my siblings? And if she doesn't take that leap, she may never know. Mm-hmm. So I do think it's worth at least maybe extending yourself, not overextending yourself, because if she extends herself to them and they're just like, who the fuck are you? Or we don't want to hear that shit, then you know what? You could live your life knowing you tried. They're grown men. You're a grown woman. It's not like kids reaching out to kids.
Yeah. I feel for herself as well, if she wants to extend the leaf, because she can't expect her father to do it. It's been way too many years. He hasn't changed. He's a grown-ass man. Unfortunately, the only thing that might spark something is if he's sick and dying. That's the only time I've seen it happen, right? Again, like you said, not extend yourself too much. It's not about not extending yourself too much, but not having too high of expectations. Mm-hmm. Because we also have to remember, where were they raised?
In that household with their mother, who said what sister?
And the dad who never had any accountability.
Yeah.
So they might not be not only receptive to it, but also not know how to have a healthy relationship with her.
So, yeah, I feel for them. And I was going to ask, like, oh, do you give your siblings grace? But I also feel like we got to not give everyone grace. Mm-hmm. I don't think her brother should get grace. I don't think your siblings should get grace. And I say that because we live in America. Mm-hmm. We have these powerful tools that we keep glued to our hands most of the day that open our perspectives outside of the way we were raised. Me and you aren't the product of our households. Maybe
not 100%.
Not 100%. We have created our own ideas on things.
Our own identity.
Exactly. We're not in an exact or we don't represent the way we were brought up 100%. So at what point do you be like, learn to think for yourself?
Yeah. I feel like with my siblings, it was many years of that argument, that back and forth of like, you know, I remember what the straw that broke the camel's back was that my biological dad's mom, so my grandmother, was not doing well. And my younger sister reached out and said, my mom wanted me to tell you that grandma's not doing well. So instantly I'm like, why is it your mom telling you? And why couldn't our dad just contact us directly? So when I asked, like, why didn't he contact us? She defended him and said, well, you know, the phone works both ways, like that I could have reached out.
I hate that shit.
I fucking lost it. I was done. I didn't even argue. At that point, I had said my points many times over the course of many years. And at this point, my younger sister was an adult and I just didn't have the energy anymore. I'm not going to associate myself with people who enable ain't shit fathers, even if that's my sister.
You triggered me a little with that. The phone goes both ways.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I recently had a conversation with my father about that same thing. I've clearly, and I would say I have a pretty good relationship with my father.
Yeah,
so this
y'all
is just,
talk all the time.
Yeah, this is just
childhood
shit, talking through it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I recently brought up to him was when I was a child, I remember asking him to call me more. And he said the phone works both ways. And I was like, fuck you. Like, that's not what a kid wants to hear.
Yeah, because you're a kid and the responsibility should be on him.
And I told him this, I'll say it again, is that I don't care how big my boys get, I'm going to be up their ass. Like, I'm going to be calling them, what are you doing, how you doing, to the point where it's just like they might ignore a few phone calls. Yeah. And that's okay with them. That's just because I just want them to know I'm here.
Yeah.
So I don't care how grown your kids are.
And not only that, I feel like if you form a relationship with your kids where y'all are talking back and forth and you call and they call, then in adulthood, that's going to just
be
natural. But if you didn't set the groundwork in their childhood, what do you expect to happen? So then it was on me, like, that I wasn't calling my grandmother, like, and
it's a cop-out.
It's a cop-out. And honestly, the relationship that I did have with my grandma was a little bit toxic because she enabled him. My biological father was living his best life in the DR. And whenever I was around my grandmother was the only time I spoke to him because she would call. She would put me on the phone. No. Hold him accountable. Why isn't he calling anyway? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So as I got older, I didn't want to be around anybody who was enabling his shit. Because no, what the fuck? And honestly, thank God that I didn't internalize that, because there's a lot of girls who grow up in that situation and then accept minimal ass forms of love from men. No, I'm not playing that shit. And I feel like the reason I kind of pushed myself away from him more was when I had Eli. Because I was like, I was strong enough and I didn't let your half-assness really affect me, but you're not going to sell dreams to my son. So he ain't going to know you. And that's it. And Eli literally does not know who he is. And he's fine.
Probably better for it.
Better off. Exactly. So yeah. Any last thoughts?
No, families are complicated and, you know, things can be tough. You just gotta work through it and, or not.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it comes down, do what's best for you and your peace of mind, your well-being, as long as you're not doing harm to anyone else.
I was going to say that.
In the process.
Don't do harm to other people.
Because I someone could flip that and say, well, I was doing what's best for me. So,
it was easier
kids.
for me to pretend they didn't exist and start fresh. No, that's fucked up. Like, if you choose to forgive, if you choose to move on, I don't judge anybody for that because we don't know the situation. Love is weird, you know? Let's say if you forgive your partner for cheating, you kind of would forgive them for having a child, right? Because that's something that can happen.
Yeah.
But in that, you have to understand what that comes with, you know? It's a heavier burden than just cheating. If you choose to forgive, fine. But don't be an asshole. And I feel like karma, like, no, just don't be an asshole.
And that's the message of the day, kid. Baby.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I still like you.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.